Hello everyone, welcome back to the Scorching Hot Takes podcast. This is the fifth and I think final part of my record collection run-through series. I'm sure there'll be future episodes when my record collection grows, but for now this will be the last one. This is a little bit of the rest of the noughties. We did 90s and a bit of the noughties last episode, and this is going to be noughties, 2010s and 2020s. And we'll get straight into it. The first thing we'll talk about is 2002 album Interpol's Turn on the Bright Lights. Now, this is one of my favourite albums of all time. There is so many incredible tracks on this. NYC, an absolute favourite of mine. I do think that A Half is so strong, with Untitled as the intro, Obstacle 1, NYC, PDA, Say Hello to the Angels. That is just genuinely one of the best sides of any record ever, in my opinion. The B half is slightly weaker. There is some songs on there like Roland and the outro that they're still perfectly fine songs, but they don't live up to the standards of other stuff on there. Like Stella Was a Diver and She Was Always Down is a great song, and The New is also an incredible one. I just think that's a great album. They're kind of just like the Strokes and Joy Division mixed together. And there's also some like kind of ethereal points on songs like Hands Away. Like they're definitely, it's nice that there's some soft cuts in there, and there's almost a little bit of a shoegazy element to quite a sound that's usually quite a bit more gritty, a bit less soft and ethereal. Next, we will talk about not my favourite album of all time, but one that I do have. It was a gift to me. This is Green Day's American Idiot. This is a perfectly okay album. American Idiot's a fine song. Jesus of Suburbia is fine. Wake Me Up When September Ends I do actually quite like, but other than that, I'm not actually that bothered about much on this album. But I do think it's a good album as a gateway to better punk stuff. I still think it's an important album, and obviously if you're looking to get into punk stuff and you're American, good way to start. If not, just go straight in with Never Mind the Bollocks. Next, we've got a pretty interesting one. This is Have a Nice Life's Deathconsciousness. This is actually one of the first records I ever bought, and it's a beautiful copy. I'll just get one of the discs out. So this is a really interesting album. Was made with a budget of only $1,000. It's an American record on that beautiful Halloweenish purple. And the main reason I love this album so much is because the concept behind it is great. There's a book that comes with the vinyl, also called Deathconsciousness, and it's kind of about a completely fictional religion, kind of cultish religion, but it's based on real folk tales. It's kind of a religion based more about death than life. It's quite dark. I won't go too much into it on this episode, but I do find it very interesting. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely pick up this record and have a read through the book, because it's definitely not like anything I've read before. Next, we've got another incredible album, 2010, Tame Impala, Innerspeaker. Now, if you've watched much of the channel, you will see that me and Sam have done some stuff on Tame Impala before, and this is absolutely my favourite album. For a debut album, I think this is absolutely outstanding. Just track for track here, there's just such consistent quality. This is kind of, I like to think of it as an amalgamation of 60s psychedelic stuff like early Pink Floyd, Hendrix, and mixing it all together, and a bit Beatlesy as well. I think Kevin Parker sounds a lot like George Harrison and John Lennon harmonising, but it's one person, and mix that with modern production and modern musical ideas, and you get this absolute masterpiece, and it's brilliant. If you've not checked it out before, absolutely do. If you have checked it out before, I'm sure you agree with me. Next, we'll move on to another one above my head. King Krule, 6 Feet Beneath the Moon, which was a 2013 album, I believe. This was the album that got me into King Krule. I first heard Out Getting Ribs a few years ago, and it was really interesting to me. And I checked out the album, and I found it absolutely brilliant. The amazing mix of hip-hoppy elements, folky elements, and also rock elements, indie rock elements, just meshed into a really unique sound, especially for the 2010 scene. It sounds very unique for its time, and I think it's a brilliant album. He's one of my favourite songwriters of all time. I think definitely my current favourite songwriter. And this is a great album above my head for me because it feels like the origins of all the stuff that would come after. And on the topic of after, we have his album from 2023, I believe. I'm not sure. I think it was 2023. This is Space Heavy. This is potentially, I think, my favourite album of the last 5 years. It's just, there's some absolutely incredible songs. You go into so many different directions of Archie Marshall, King Krule's talent. He's got such great range. I mean, songs on here, Pink Shell, the second track, is kind of a really plucky, bassy, quite thick and dark song. It reminds me a lot of Digital by Joy Division. But then on the same album, we've got Seagull, which is just a really soft and kind of almost quite sensual, just really beautiful song. And the songwriting on here is just second to none. Wednesday Overcast, the outro, shows that how good he is at poetically painting a picture. And Seaforth shows how good he is at writing. He can write a pop song. Hamburger Phobia, the first song on the B half, another absolute standout. The transition between Tortoise of Independency and Empty Stomach Space Cadet, I could talk about this album all day. It's absolutely incredible. And this is the most recent album. That is the earliest album. And you can see the links to this songwriting. One of my favourite things is he has symbols and metaphors that link throughout all of his writing through his discography. Just an example, he always talks about the colours blue and grey. That's just one thing. Okay, now we have an album that is very important to me. I'll paint the picture first. So imagine I was, I think, 14, not really into music, not really. Came downstairs and Dad on the TV was watching something on the BBC and it was Fontaines D.C. live at I don't know what it's called, but there's a jail in Ireland and they were performing A Hero's Death, the title track from A Hero's Death. And Grian had a haircut fairly similar to mine and a pinstripe blazer. And I thought he just looked like a slightly less camp Irish Jarvis Cocker. And it was brilliant. I thought he was so cool. And then I started listening to some Fontaines. And soon after that, this was announced to be coming out. And I went to see them in Hull in 2022. Maybe I was a bit older than 14, actually, when I saw the Green on. Maybe I was 15, 16. But anyway, no, 15, yeah, because I went to see them when I was 16. And I went to see them on the tour for this album. And I didn't have it at the time, and I thought they were absolutely incredible. It was absolutely just lit a flame in me for a love for music. And then I was in Whitby, and I wasn't in a record shop, I was in a bookshop. And this was just on one of the shelves, so I picked it up, and this is the first record that I ever bought for me. I'd bought one for another person before, but I'd never bought one for me. This was the first one I ever bought, so a very special one in my collection. My only other Fontaines record I have is this. This is a picture disc of Romance. I would love to have Doggerel and A Hero's Death because they are my two favourites. These are actually my two least favourites of the discography. I still love Skinty Feet, but this unfortunately didn't live up to expectations. This is only, as you can see, 2,483 of 3,000 copies of this picture disc. I'll just get it out quickly and show you. I ordered this before the album came out, unfortunately, and it was quite expensive. Unfortunately, the album didn't live up to what my expectations, but I mean, it's a cool thing to have for a collector anyway, so I'm not too upset. And now we've got a very interesting album. This is Black Midi's Hellfire. This is a record that Sam bought me for a birthday a couple of years ago now, and there is nothing like this. I think Black Midi in particular are definitely getting some more recognition, but I think they will be looked back on as like a Velvet Underground of our generation, of just so influential, even though they don't have loads of mainstream success. I mean, in Leeds at the minute, a lot of underground bands, you can just hear so much Black Midi in them. Velvet Underground is a bit of a stretch, but yeah, I mean, if you've not listened to this before, the album cover absolutely speaks for itself. Imagine a psychedelic acid trip fueled circus where the Fat Controller from the platform, what was he called? Tom Hanks in the Polar Express. What are they called? The ticket guy, anyway. And he sounds like he's on it, but yeah, it's a really interesting album. There's nothing like this out there, and it's brilliant, and I'm glad I have it. Next, we'll move on to a band that is often discussed alongside Black Midi. This is Black Country New Road. Both bands that kind of were on the come up together, and these were both released around similar times, I think. For me, this is just slightly better. This is absolutely beautiful. It's jazzy. The songwriting is absolutely incredible. Isaac Wood's poetic way of just telling a story is really unique, and he's just brilliant. He's got a really kind of raw and gentle baritone voice that really shines on songs like Basketball Shoes when he just begins to absolutely belt. But there is just some absolute high quality stuff on here. Concord, Bread Song's a personal favourite of mine, Goodwill Hunting, and of course The Place Where He Inserted the Blade and Basketball Shoes, for me, are just genuinely some of the best songs of the last 10 years. And it's an absolutely incredible album. If you've not checked it out yet, absolutely do. If you have, let me know what you think. Am I overrating it? Do you prefer Hellfire? I think this has got a slight edge. And on the topic of Black Country New Road, this is the only other album I don't have for the first time. I've not picked up the new album. Don't know whether I will be, because I picked this up not too long ago, and there is some good stuff on here. Turbine's Pigs, I think is a great song. Laughing Song I quite enjoy, and Up Songs, the intro and outro, is quite an interesting thing. But I think, for me, they're still a really high quality band. They're all incredible musicians. The female vocalists all have absolutely beautiful voices, but there is something about Isaac's voice that matches so well with the music for me. I think this situation with Black Country New Road losing their front man and having a lineup change reminds me of Pink Floyd losing Syd Barrett and kind of losing their mojo a bit, and then it took them a few albums to find themselves. And I think Black Country New Road will. However, I don't think in this era, only a couple of years after the departure of Isaac, I don't think they're quite there yet. Next, I did that in the last video. I just got Everything Is Live out again. My last album, actually, is up there. It's Idol's Tank. It's one of the most recent albums that I've picked up. Actually, it's not that recent. It was about a year ago now. But I won't get it down. I've got it on a beautiful translucent orange vinyl. And I think it's great. I was never really into Idols. And then when the single Pop, Pop, Pop came out, I watched the music for that, and I found it very striking. I think Joe Talbot's got a great image. He's quite scary, but also you can tell by his songwriting he's actually a softie. He's a hard on the outside, soft on the inside, a bit rough around the edges. But he's great. Songwriting-wise, there are some great tracks on there. I really enjoy some of the harder ones like Hall & Oates that feel maybe a bit more typical Idols. Dancer is an absolutely great song. And Pop, Pop, Pop is definitely a standout for me. It's quite airy. It's got some hip-hoppy elements to it, but it's still got that Idols grit, which I really enjoy. And that album has definitely been a gateway for me to get into more Idol stuff. And I'm very glad I picked it up because it's a bit more of a unique one in my collection. But yeah, I think that's the last one of this collection. So that's everything for now. There is technically actually some more stuff that I've got, but I can't show you yet. But I will at some point. You'll understand why soon. But thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've got tuned into every episode. If you haven't, maybe go back and watch them. I mean, it's a bit late now if you're this far, but yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed. See you soon. Goodbye. Thank you. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, share. Toodles.